Timon and Pumbaa, they may not be the best parents in the world, but they tried. They tried to help Simba. They thought that Hakuna Matata was going to help Simba because, well, Simba was really depressed. And they didn't want him to be really depressed, so they tried their best and they tried to cheer him up. And they did, but not 100% cured him from being depressed, but they tried. If Timon and Pumbaa are really douchebags, they wouldn't have been Simba's friend. So anyways, going on with my review, Simba is now grown up. Adult Simba is voiced by Matthew Broderick. If you don't know who Matthew Broderick is, he was in Ferris Day Off, the Godzilla remake. Yes, the one that I cried in. How ironic. Matthew Broderick was in 2 movies that I cried in. Is he like the cry master or something? And he was in The Producers with Nathan Lane. And that's really all what I can think of. What else he was in? Oh yeah, he was in Inspector Gadget, the first one, not the crappy sequel with French Stewart. So anyways, adult Simba, he's still depressed about when his father died, and he still thinks that it was his fault. And now Scar has taken over the Pride Lands. He has turned it into a graveyard. The Pride Lands, a once beautiful, gorgeous place, is now an evil, destroyed graveyard. That's one thing that I liked about The Lion King. The Lion King is a movie about responsibility. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, how is The Lion King about responsibility? Mufasa had a responsibility to be the king. Being a king does not mean that he would just go like, yeah, I'm the king, I'm just gonna sit back and relax. Yeah, somebody bring me a soda, somebody bring me a pizza, I'm just gonna be lazy all day. No. Being king means that you have to have a responsibility. And Scar thought that, oh, if I'm king, I can just sit back and relax and I can do whatever I want. But Scar, he didn't take good care of the Pride Lands at all. If you've seen The Lion King, and if you see what he did to the Pride Lands, you know that he wasn't responsible being king. Like, look at Barack Obama. He has a huge responsibility of the United States of America. And do you think that he's just gonna sit back and ask for soda and pizza? No. He has a responsibility. I have a responsibility for driving and going to school. Really, it's a movie about being responsible. It shows that if you're gonna be like the king or for anything, you have to try. You have to do your best. You can't just sit around and just do whatever you want, or else you're gonna destroy it. You know that you're watching a good movie when you actually care about the characters. And did I care about Simba going back to the Pride Lands? Yes, I did care. So that means The Lion King is a good movie. So anyways, Simba's childhood friend Nala, she still lives at the Pride Lands, but she is very upset about what Scar did to the Pride Lands. So she sets off and she has to go look for help. But coincidentally, she runs into Simba, and then the whole Can You Feel the Love Tonight song, which is a great song, by the way, and Nala is curious as to why Simba wouldn't come back, and Simba's making up a whole bunch of excuses, but Nala tries to tell Simba, you have to come back, you have to be king, but Simba won't tell her that he thinks that he killed Mufasa. And then Scar, when he was a kid, when Simba was a kid, and after when Mufasa died, Scar told Simba that, what would your mother think? And then he said, if you come back, there will be consequence. And Simba does not want to go back to the Pride Land because he's afraid that he's going to have consequence. And that's why Scar makes a really good movie villain. I'm gonna give props to Disney for picking the perfect voice actor for Scar, Jeremy Irons. His voice was perfect, dead on for Scar. Jeremy Irons just has that evil voice, and I've heard that originally Malcolm McDowell and Tim Curry were gonna voice Scar. That would have been interesting. If you don't know who Malcolm McDowell is, he was Dr. Sam Loomis in Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2, and he was in A Clockwork Orange. Tim Curry, he was in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Home Alone 2, and he was the clown in It. But really, Jeremy Irons is Scar. And then after that, Rafiki finds Simba, and Rafiki is so happy that Simba is alive and that the Pride Lands doesn't have to put up with Scar's BS anymore. So, yes, Rafiki goes after Simba and tries to knock some sense into him, but at first, Simba is still depressed about that he thinks it was his fault. Simba is truly convinced that it was his fault. But he's finally convinced when the spirit of Mufasa comes from the sky and knocks some sense into Simba. That part in The Lion King is one of my favorite movie moments of all time. It's so iconic and so freaking awesome. And then yes, Simba finally goes back to the Pride Lands. Yay! Then after that, Timon and Pumbaa and Nala are freaking out they're like, oh my god, where's Simba? But then Rafiki tells them that the king has returned. And they know that Simba has finally gone back to challenge Scar to take back his kingdom. And I'm gonna keep on going with when Super Godzilla said that Timon and Pumbaa were douchebags in the first one. Okay, if Timon and Pumbaa really just didn't care about Simba, they wouldn't have gone to the Pride Lands to help Simba. They would have just stayed at the Hakuna Matata or whatever, would have just laid back and like, yeah, we have all this. Why do we need to go back and help that stupid lion? That's one thing I didn't like about The Lion King 1.5. They ruined Timon and Pumbaa. Well, actually, The Lion King 1.5 ruined Timon. It made him look like a douchebag. In my world, The Lion King 1.5 never happened. That movie was totally pointless. I'll review that one some other time, but anyways, Timon and Pumbaa, they're his real friends. They went to the Pride Lands with him while they chased him down. So anyways, Simba finally goes back to the Pride Lands and he's pretty pissed about what he sees, and I wouldn't blame him. If I came back to my house and I saw that it was turned into a total junkyard or whatever, I'll be pretty pissed. I'll be pretty pissed if whoever was in charge of my house absolutely turned my house into a living piece of garbage. So anyways, Sarabi, Simba's mom, confronts Scar about telling him that there's no more food. But Scar is being a total D-bag and he says, well, you're not looking hard enough. But Sarabi's telling him that we must leave Pride Rock, but Scar tells her, no, we're not going anywhere. And then Sarabi says, well, you have sentenced us to death. And then she compares him to Mufasa, and Scar gets pissed and he knocks her down to the ground and says, I'm 10 times the king Mufasa was. Yes, I know. I'm starting to remember most of the quotes of The Lion King because I've seen it so many times. And I also plan on watching it on my birthday. So anyways, Simba is pissed that Scar just knocked his mother down to the ground, and at first everyone thinks that it's Mufasa who somehow came back from the dead. So anyways, Scar finds a way to force Simba to admit that he killed Mufasa, though he didn't. Scar pretty much moves Simba back. Okay, let's say that this is Pride Rock, my cell phone. Yeah, pretty lame example, but hey, I'm trying, okay? Here's Scar, here's Simba. No. Yeah, here's Scar, here's Simba. Simba falls, and then Scar whispers to Simba, saying, "Now here's my little secret. I killed Mufasa." And Simba, full of anger, he jumps on top of Scar, and he starts choking him, saying, "You murderer!" And then Scar's begging Simba, "Oh, Simba, Simba, please." And Simba says, "Tell them the truth." And Scar says, he really just mumbles, and then Simba starts choking him. Then Scar says, all right. And first he whispers, "I did it." But Simba says, "So they can hear you." And then Scar yells out in front of all the lions, all the hyenas, "I killed Mufasa." And then all the lionesses and the hyenas start having a huge battle. There's this huge fire going off, and that was one thing that was brilliant. The fire pretty much showed the emotions of the lionesses, that they were lied to about Scar, about Mufasa's death, and Simba, and how pissed off he is at Scar. But Scar, who tries to run away, Simba spots him. He chases after Scar. Then Scar is off the edge of this rock. Simba jumps down. No, he jumps onto the rock. He's pissed off. He says, "You murderer." And then Scar says, "Is there anything I can do to repay you?" Then Simba says the exact same thing what he said to him when he was little. "Run away, Scar, and never return." But then, as Scar starts walking away, he says, "Yes, as you wish, your majesty." Then Scar throws this fire at Simba's face. It starts to burn him, and then they have the most epic movie battle of all time. The battle of Simba and Scar is so epic. They made the right choice to make the battle in slow motion, because that's all what you're focusing on. You're not focusing on the hyenas, you're not focusing on anything else, but just Simba and Scar having the most epic battle of all time. And yes, Scar falls off of the edge, and he bumps into the hyenas. He says, "Ah, my friends." But before, when Simba and Scar had the fight on the rock, Scar said to Simba, "It's the hyenas' fault. It was their idea. It's all their fault." But the hyenas heard him. The hyenas are pissed. And then the hyenas said, "Friends, I thought that we were the enemy. Is that right, Ed?" Then Ed starts laughing sinisterly. All the hyenas, start crawling to Scar. And then Scar's like, "No, wait, please, you don't understand." Then, rah, the hyenas kill him. This movie wouldn't have been nearly as good. Wouldn't have been nearly as good without the beautiful, awesome, epic music. And I'm going to give props to Tim Rice and Elton John. You two did a fantastic job by writing the lyrics, making the songs to The Lion King. In the past, I have criticized musicals for, just singing just randomly, but I will make an exception for The Lion King, because The Lion King actually has good, catchy songs. And I'm not gonna lie, I sing some of the Lion King songs during school, like that during a test, like that. I'll sing Hakuna Matata and The Circle of Life, and then people are like, you're really singing that during school?" So anyways, that's The Lion King. And what do I think of The Lion King? Absolutely brilliant! This movie is fantastic! It has great character development, great voice cast, great music, great script, great songs, great everything! I feel sorry for you, Super Godzilla 12 and Confused Matthew, that you just don't understand The Lion King. I'm not saying that you don't have to like The Lion King, but I feel sorry for you that you're missing out on one of the greatest movies of all time. It's my favorite Disney movie of all time, next to Tarzan. Oh yeah, someday I am going to review Tarzan, and trust me, the Tarzan review is coming soon. Okay, in my world, there's only The Lion King 1 and The Lion King 2. That's it. And that's it! I also plan on going to see The Lion King on Broadway, either during the summer or from when I graduate high school in 2012. So anyways, brilliant movie. If you haven't seen Lion King, go watch it now. Absolutely brilliant. Great movie. 5 stars out of 5. Great movie. 2 thumbs way up in the air.